Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first Selkie Networking Showcase. I will just give a brief background on how this came about. We started a series, a Meet the Expert event series, and there seems to be quite some appetite around from companies and people to network and to get to know each other and to meet other companies. So we reached out to our own network, the Selkie network, and the first 5 companies who said that they would like to present and showcase their own background, what they do, what they're capable of doing. We said we would organize an event on the week of the Selkie AGM. So here we are. We're kind of playing it by ear as to see how this can be a valuable tool or how we can use it to gather meaningful data going forward. So we're going to use the Marine Energy Wales format. We'll have a roundtable introduction. Everyone will speak for a minute or 2 minutes at the most, and then we'll move on to the showcasing companies. Then we'll have our breakout rooms with myself and each of the 3 other panelists facilitating one of the breakout rooms. If you want to network with a certain person, let us know. If you have a question, let us know. Please keep your microphones muted. And as well, next to your name, if you could rename yourself and put either your company or your organization next to your name. And also that this networking event is being recorded. The breakout rooms won't be recorded, but the main section will be for future dissemination. So we're going to... Hello? I'm just going to mute. Someone is trying to communicate. And if you have a question, you put your hand up if you want to speak or type it in the chat. So what we start with is Sophie will give us a brief overview of the Selkie project. You're probably all very familiar with the project, but we'll start here and then we'll move on to the panel discussions, followed by the roundtable discussions. So take it away, please, Sophie.
Thanks, TJ. Yeah, hi, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. It's brilliant to see you here. I think quite a few people are on holidays and things at the moment, so thanks for taking the time. I think I've spoken to most of you in some shape or form, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Selkie Crouch and I'm a project coordinator working on industry engagement as part of the Selkie Project. I'll just give a very quick update on project activities before we start. I think that's loading. A bit slow. There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Sophie, no problem.
Brilliant. Yeah, so as many of you know, a large part of Selkie is looking into research and development. And so we're working on a set of multi-use technology tools and models bespoke for the Ireland to Wales region that will ultimately be open access and used by the industry. We have several different tools being developed by our academic and industry partners. And if you're interested to find out more, we have recently launched a video series on our website and social media. So if you'd like to get a snapshot of what each of the tools are and their uses, definitely check out our website and have a look at those. If there are specific tools that you're interested in, or perhaps would be keen to use as part of your work, definitely do get in touch with us and we can certainly connect you with the people working on those tools to find out more. Just as a further update to upcoming events, I'm sure you've all heard we've been running a series of Meet the Expert events covering a range of topics relevant for the industry. These have been really useful so far, and it's been great to see the interactions coming out of each of the sessions. So I'll just bring to your attention the upcoming events in August. Next week, we have a session scheduled looking at the testing and validation of new technology for marine energy in Wales. We'll hear from the Marine Energy Test Area and the Marine Energy Engineering Centre of Excellence, or META and NEAS, talking about the opportunities and support available through both of those programmes. So this session will be brilliant if you're developing technology or equipment to be tested in an open water setting, but also test centres are building supply chain. So if your company has services that could be useful for testing facilities, would be brilliant to see you there as well. And then a little later in August, we'll hear from Mainstay Marine Solutions, who are a leading fabrication company. They're originally boat builders who have successfully diversified their work and worked on a number of marine energy projects. So it'll be fantastic to hear from their experience and learn about fabrication for marine energy. And that's on the 19th of August. I will just say we are also scheduling a testing and validation session for Ireland with Blue Wise Marine, who run the Smart Bay site in Ireland. This was originally next week, but we will be rescheduling that, so keep an eye out for information on that. And you can look at all the sessions available and register through the events page of our website, which is selkie-project.eu. And finally, I've just included our brilliant network, of which you're all a part of, so a big thank you to you all. Of course, we are here to offer business support as well as knowledge transfer. So if there are any areas we may be able to assist you with, whether it's grants preparation, business diagnostics, or just general information and connections within the sector, please do get in touch and we'd be very happy to chat and help. There we go. I think I'll hand back to TJ now to kick off today's event. Thanks all.
Thanks, Sophie. Excellent presentation and detail from our project. Okay, we'll start with the panel introductions. I'll go first. My name is TJ Horgan. I'm based in the Marine Renewable Energy Ireland, MARI, part of the UCC and Science Foundation Ireland, based in the Beaufort Centre in Cork Harbour. My background is in marine. My primary qualification is nautical science. Worked extensively offshore, oil and gas, aquaculture, wind farms, decommissioning projects. I came ashore and diversified into the renewable energy sector back in August 2019, and I'm enjoying my time so far with UCC. Did I actually just speak my whole speak with the mute on?
No, sorry, that was me right at the end. I was trying to admit somebody and it moved and I accidentally muted you right at the end, TJ. My apologies.
Sorry,
we did hear
Jay.
most of that.
Okay, if you heard most of it, that's okay. I'll pass on to Sophie.
Thanks, TJ. Yeah. Hi, I'm Sophie. As I mentioned, the project coordinator on the Selkie Project, looking at industry engagement. I work within the More Life team at Mentamon. So Mentamon are the third-party managers of the More Life's tidal demonstration zone off Anglesey. So that's kind of been my main introduction to the industry through that and Selkie. Before that, I actually studied sort of marine environmental science and took an interest in environmental impacts and marine energy. And yeah, that's how I got into the industry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, damn.
Okay, just a quick reminder, everyone, just make sure that your microphone remains muted. Okay. All right, Sophie, we got the majority of that. You were saying that you actually studied.
Marine environmental science.
Thanks, Sophie. And Sophie and Minterman are doing a fantastic job for the project on industry engagement and knowledge transfer. Next is Jay Shepherd.
Hello, everyone. Yep, my name's Jay. I'm a project manager at Marine Energy Wales. Marine Energy Wales being one of the partners on the Selkie project. So we are effectively the trade association for the marine renewables sector here in Wales. We do a lot of work on behalf of the sector, from supply chain through to policy and lobbying and all sorts in between. It's good to see some MEW members in the call today. If you're interested in Marine Energy Wales membership, you can get in touch with me at a later point, and we can maybe have some discussions there. And yeah, I've been quite heavily involved in putting on a lot of the events through the Selkie project to date. So you might have seen my face if you've attended some of our Meet the Expert events, or perhaps our webinars that we hosted over the last year.
Thank you, Jay. And yeah, you are a familiar face and voice. Great experienced chairperson. Next is Dr. Frank Crowley.
Right, thanks, TJ. Hi, everybody. So I'm Frank Crowley. I'm an economist. I'm also director of the Spatial and Regional Economics Research Centre in Cork University Business School in UCC. I suppose, where do I fit in the project? I suppose I'm in the academic side of things, particularly interested, I suppose, in researching actually what is happening within this industry, and particularly firms using firm level microdata. I suppose I'd probably be annoying some of you. You've probably seen my name crop up in emails looking for you to fill out surveys and stuff. And some of my students may have been in contact and talking to you. I suppose what we're particularly interested in is learning about this particular industry. It's a unique case in the sense that, you know, you have small to medium-sized enterprises here at the early part of a product life cycle. So it's complex. We're interested in learning how we're going to get to commercialization stages for firms in this area. So we're particularly interested in learning, how do you innovate? How do firms engage in R&D? Who do you collaborate with? How important are universities for you? How important are government institutions for you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we ask an awful lot of questions, I suppose, on our side, and that's just because we're trying to explore and learn more. But also this is to advise how government can help you guys. And I suppose also how the stakeholders within the project of Selkie and aspects of that can also intervene and help. So I'm interested in learning about your stories, and looking forward to today and getting to know some of the companies a bit better. Okay, so thanks, TJ.
Thanks, Frank, and thanks for joining us today. Okay, we'll start the roundtable discussions. Now, I'm not too sure the best order to go in. Will I go by my list of names, or will I go by my pictures faces that I'm looking at? Sophie, do you have a registration list to hand that you could run through?
Yep.
No, if you could just keep this to a minute or two, your elevator pitch, we'd appreciate that. But I'm not going to be overbearing or anything. If you're a good speaker and you have a good story, we can accommodate that.
Okay, so just looking at the list, we've got Sarah Brown from Premium Power. Are you there, Sarah? Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to Sarah.
I guess if you don't want to talk,
yeah,
that's fine too.
That's fine too. Okay, then on the list we've got Jerry Hennety.
Yeah, Jerry Kennedy, Equilibrant. We're a consultant engineering firm based in Belfast. I have personal experience of the CGen project in Strangford Lough a number of years ago. We are very much into the marine sector from the inspection of assets. We've got an underwater dive team led by a chartered engineer, and really interested in this sector to see how we might be of assistance. That's probably all I've got to say.
Great, thanks, Jerry. Okay, next on my list, we've got Mike Cole from Creo Skills.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Cole from Creo Skills. We're a small family-run vocational education consultancy. We specialize in management and leadership training, but also we offer accreditation services across the UK and further across Europe, so that skills, knowledge, behaviors can be recognized across borders. We are a qualification centre for a couple of UK and in particular Welsh awarding bodies, and we've in the last 18 months accredited a course for vessel to monopile transfers in the North Sea in the renewable energy sector. So we're familiar with the sector and very keen to be doing something in renewables. So that's us. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mike. And Mike also had a great Meet the Expert session last week. So if you're interested in more about Mike's work, we'll have the recordings from that available on the website. And next up, we've got Paul Evans from Intertech.
Hello, yeah, my name's Paul Evans. I'm a senior consultant at Intertech Energy and Water. I've got about 15 or so years experience in the marine renewables sector, specifically focusing on tidal energy resource characterization. That included a 4-year PhD at Cardiff University looking at potential tidal energy sites around Wales, specifically Pembrokeshire. So Intertech Energy and Water, we're engineering or environmental consultancy founded in the 1980s. We provide specialist technical services in the marine and river and coastal environments. We've got 4 offices in the UK, 1 in Hampshire, 1 in Cardiff where I'm based, 1 in Aberdeen and 1 in Dundee. And we're also looking at options to open an office in Ireland currently. My colleague Dan is actually going to give Dan Williams is going to give a presentation at I think 2:30 slots, so I won't sort of steal his thunder. But yeah, he'll provide a bit more information on what Intertech Energy and Water, what services we provide, and how we potentially can assist on the Selkie project. But we're essentially on the Selkie project as an industrial partner, providing support as and when required.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, looking forward to Dan's presentation soon. And then another one of our speakers, actually, we've got Jo Burke up next.
Hi, yes, I'm from SMI, and well, my background is actually selling into the defence industry. I've done the last 8 or 9 years selling into defence, but and then joined SMI a couple of years ago. But the product at SMI and technology that SMI can provide on submarines and surface ships is absolutely key for ocean renewables. I won't say any more about that because I am presenting, and this will hopefully be made clearer then. So that will come a bit later. So thank you for the opportunity.
Great, thanks, Jo. And then next up, we've got James Morris from JNS Subsea.
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm Engineering Director at JNS Subsea. We have a history of providing dry mate connections for the wave and tidal sector. We provided the first dry mate connections for EMEC up in Orkney for them to set out the first berths for developing wave and tidal energy devices. And we also provided a later model dry mate connection for the BIMEP facility in northern Spain. We're continuing to develop newer products for dry mix connections and subsea splices for high voltage and medium voltage cable systems.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, James. Just going down my list, we've actually got Matt. Matt is actually new to the Selkie team, so putting you on the spot, Matt, but if you'd just like to introduce yourself. Oh, I think you're on mute, Matt.
Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Telfer. I've recently joined the Selkie team. I will be Manon's maternity cover replacement, so working as the Marine Energy Wales project coordinator. So this is my first week, so I've been learning everything as fast as I can, but yeah, it's a really exciting industry to be a part of. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in, and that's me.
Great, thanks very much, Matt. Okay, now we've got, I'm just checking the names. Have we got Malcolm Blackmore here? I think I can see the name. Okay, we'll go to John Chalice from Inland and Coastal. Are you there, John?
Hi, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm from Inland and Coastal. We're an Irish-based company from County Offaly. We design and install specialist water access systems to basically get on and off boats safely. Increasingly, we are finding a market for crew transfer vessels, and I'm keen to listen and collaborate with partners who have that requirement to adapt to their circumstances and the environment that they're faced with. Thanks.
Great, thanks, John. Okay, we've got David Canary.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am a one-man band. I set up a consultancy at the end of 2020 after spending 10 years in London covering the global infrastructure and energy market through intelligence providers and publications. I've now set up a consultancy using that information and network to provide research services, usually for companies who want to get into certain sectors, including renewables, or they might want to navigate public policy or find potential partners or M&A targets in some cases. Since I've been established, I've got a lot of calls from various stakeholders in renewables, and a lot of it's to do with how to get the enabling infrastructure that is going to be required, built and financed, and on both sides of the Celtic Sea. And that's an area I'm particularly interested in, and I think Selkie is a good vehicle for that.
Thanks, David. And then next up, we've got Malcolm Page. From PPG, if you're there, Malcolm. Okay, we'll come back to Malcolm. We got Sean Finlay from Geoscience Ireland. Sorry, Malcolm.
Not allowing me to unmute myself for some reason.
No.
Good afternoon, everybody. Malcolm Page from PPG. We're a global coatings company providing coatings into all sectors. I first engaged with tidal energy with Fraser Johnson and Nicky Meek, who had a company out of Plymouth University back in the 2000s, and interested to re-engage if I can. In the UK, we supply marine and protective coatings and architectural coatings. You may well have come across the Johnston or Leyland brands as our decorative brands. So I'm keen to see if we can become engaged with any of the projects here.
Great, thanks, Malcolm. And then I'll go back to Sean from Geoscience Ireland.
Thank you, Sophie, and thanks, TJ. Sean Finlay is my name. I'm a geologist and chartered engineer. I'm the Director of Business Development for Geoscience Ireland. Geoscience Ireland is a network of 42 companies who between them have a turnover in excess of 1.5 billion euro and employ over 5,000 people. Our objective is to win work for those companies in overseas markets. Some of our members are particularly interested in offshore wind energy. I'm delighted to see one of them is present here today, Byrne Luby, represented by Shane McCarthy. We are members of Selkie, but only recently joined. We're also members of Marine Energy Wales and are very impressed with what those two organisations do. What I'm keen to learn today and in other engagements with Selkie and MEW is how Ireland can catch up with offshore wind energy, because we're years behind the UK in that regard. We do have a relationship through our parent organisation, Geological Survey of Ireland, with a project in Wales called Cherish. That's an interreg project, and that has an Ireland-Welsh access to it. We're also involved with the British Irish Chamber of Commerce, who have facilitated some visits by Welsh Government ministers to Ireland, and we've learned a lot from that as well. Unfortunately, I've got my calendar back to front or inside out today, and I have to bow out at 3 o'clock, so apologies about that, but delighted to meet everybody and very pleased to be part of Selkie, and hope we can be useful participants in it. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, no worries. Great to have you here for the start of the session, at least. So next I'll go to Nicola Harris from SAISH.
Hi, yes, Nikki Harris at SAISH. So this is my first Selkie event, so thank you, Sophie in particular, for making us feel welcome, and looking forward to meeting everyone else. I've got a slot in the speaker section later, so I won't repeat myself, but I guess I'll just give a bit more about my background, really. So I've been involved with offshore industry since about 2006. It was largely oil and gas to start with, but moved into renewables in about 2010. A lot of the work that I've done has been very much offshore wind, and we specialise at SAISH in underwater noise monitoring and marine mammal monitoring and mitigation technology. So we're very focused on looking at ways to mitigate some of the impacts of offshore development on marine life, and I'll share a little bit more about that in my slot. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Nikki. I'll go to Dan Williams from Intertech.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan Williams. I'm Paul Evans' colleague. I am going to present in a bit, so I won't say anything about the company, because I'll say that probably in a couple of minutes. But I graduated last year from Bangor University in marine renewable energies. So looking forward to this project. Come across Selkie with a few connections before, so pleasure to be here.
Great, thanks, Dan. Looking forward to your presentation. I'll go to, we got Toby Forrester, I think Williams Shipping.
Yes, hello. Hi, yes, my name's Toby Forrester. I work for Williams Shipping, based in Pembroke Dock in Southampton. For those who don't know, Williams Shipping has been around for a long time, since 1894, still run by the same family today. The Pembroke base started here in 2004, and we run a varied fleet of multi-cats, crew transfer vessels, flat top barges and crane barges, all from Pembroke Port. We provide support for surveys, safety cover, towage, civils and renewables. We've worked with a number of different renewables projects so far, including the Wave Sub with NPS, Subhub with QED, Wavetricity and MEIS as well. Alongside all our marine services, we also run logistics and haulage as well, which might help with some of the later projects. And we also help with landside craneage and warehousing as well. So that's us, and yeah, we look forward to the industry developing. We're based right in the centre of Pembroke Port, next door to Mainstay, so right in the thick of it. And yeah, hoping to see it all expand in the near future. All right.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Toby. And then I think we'll go to John Bailey from Safina Group.
Yep. Hi, everybody. My name's John, and I'm representing Safina Group. We're actually giving one of the Meet the Expert sessions in just over a month. So if you want to find out more, that's probably the best place to actually listen to us. But we are coatings consultants. So we deal with all aspects of paints and coatings. Our specialties are marine, yachts, energy and infrastructure. And then we work through the entire life cycle. So that's everything from formulation through to specification, quality control, supervision, and then failure investigation, warranty work and expert witness. So if anybody's got questions about paints and coatings, I'm more than happy for them to get in contact. We can have a chat.
Great, thanks, John. Yeah, looking forward to the Meet the Expert session just in September, I think it is. And then we'll go to now Angela Ennis.
Hi guys, sorry, slow on the mute. Angela Ennis here from Ennis Safety Wear, and we are a workwear and safety wear provider. So we have a long tradition in ports. So we're based in Dublin Port, and we're there in Dublin Port over 90 years within the construction industry. So we supply everything as regards PPE and workwear, particularly for water environment. And we stock and supply here in Ireland. So very interested in the Selkie Project. It's great. We've worked quite a long time in the petrochem environment. So that would be our specialized area. So great to be involved with a renewable project. We would strongly believe in it. So it's great to be involved. Thanks a million, guys.
Thanks, Angela. I think we're almost there. So I'll go to Nicholas Wood.
So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the introduction there, Sophie. My name's Nick Wood. Quite interesting. I have a very different profile from everyone that I've seen introduce themselves so far. Apologies, I was a little late onto the call. I work for an individual of ultra high net worth who owns most of Gibraltar and is a serial property developer. He owns the marina in Gibraltar, created the World Trade Center down there, has a series of resorts, nightclubs, retail complexes, casinos, is in the middle of launching a 1,400 apartment property, moving up the Spanish coastline, and has numerous resorts up the Spanish coastline alongside of those, as well as some here in the UK, Germany and Florida. The principal reason for me being here is that I'm very much a commercial beast, and we're looking at our future projects, and the whole renewable energy topic is massive for us. And I joined the business about a year ago to lead a number of different projects, and most of them are moving towards sustainability and renewables. Particularly, the reason why I was late on the call is we've just placed an order for some wind turbines, partly to satisfy some new and increasing legislation down coming from the Gibraltar government, and I'm sure that legislation will escalate and accelerate. I think with COP26 coming in November, I'm sure that governments around the world will be driving that agenda pretty hard, and I think they potentially see it as a vote winner. So I think it'll happen pretty quickly too. The reason why I'm here is after a really great meeting with Sophie about a month ago, it feels like there's a huge amount of knowledge and expertise around the screen as I'm looking at everybody and listening to the introductions. We're desperately trying to find answers for renewable energy as of now, pretty much, hence the previous call that I was on. We also understand that our solutions are likely not just to be from one source, but clearly being based in Gibraltar, tidal energy or wave energy certainly has potential for us. And we want to try and explore every possible avenue to be able to satisfy that possibility. So looking forward to the various presentations and being in touch with a lot of you guys. So please feel free to reach out. Thanks, Sophie.
Great, thanks, Nick. Yeah, it's always good to hear people from different backgrounds coming into the industry. And then I think lastly, we just got Alan O'Kelly. If you'd just like to quickly introduce yourself, Alan.
Happy to introduce myself. So my name is Alan O'Kelly. Yeah, I'm a director of Premium Power. We're an electrical consultancy. So if you just don't understand, am I just doing a quick introduction now and doing the presentation later? Is that the way it goes?
Yes, sorry, yeah,
Well,
just brief introduction. Yeah.
Well, fine, I won't kill everybody with details about myself then. So I'm an engineer, I'm a technical kind of guy. So and I'll detail more of that, but we work with a lot of, with electrical systems, certainly in Ireland, but also across Europe. And we're very interested in the renewable space, and we work in some ways in it. And it's such a vast space, there's a lot of ways in which you can work there, but yeah, I'll talk about that later on.
Great, thanks, Alan. If I have missed anyone, please do say now, but I think if not, we'll hand back to TJ.
Okay, thanks, Sophie. Wow, that was amazing. So diverse, and so many different facets of the industry are actually represented here. I'm just going to ask a question. You can put up your hand if you have an answer. Just from the reason you joined today, after hearing everybody's introduction, is there anyone who have seen someone or heard someone's description where you say, okay, I think I should talk to this person afterwards? David? Oh, look, there was just one that came to mind. There was a company from County Offaly who were doing the boats, the safety on the boats. Which company was that? And then the Williams Shipping were doing the crew transfer vessels and all that. There was a site connection there. Could be useful.
That's good to hear.
Okay, then let's move on to the presentations.
Sorry, TJ, can I just also, vessel transfer is something that we've been working on very recently in terms of qualifications, so I'd be happy to jump in with that as well.
Okay, we won't get too sidetracked. But like that's what we're looking for these networking events, people to showcase what they can do, make the connections, and we can drum up some business and some quality connections as well. Right, first on the agenda is oh yeah, the agenda changed, the second agenda. So okay, we're slightly behind time. So the first one is TADEC Limited. Am I right, Sophie?
I think we're going to Intertech first, if that's all right.
Intertech, sorry. Wrong agenda. Yeah, Intertech, then SMI, then Premium, then TADEC, then SEASH.
Grand. Okay, thank you very much for that. So, yeah, I'm Dan Williams here with Paul Evans. Is there a way to share the screen if that's all right? Hopefully this will work. Is that coming through fine?
Yes, Dan.
Grand, thank you. So I'm representing Intertech Energy and Water, and we're particularly interested in renewables and cables, which are all part of the industry. So Intertech, what is Intertech? Intertech has 40,000 people in 100 countries all around the world. It's a FTSE 100 company, which you might have heard of before. And we work in so many different sectors, making sure that the quality of processes and products is good. Now, if that sounds a bit intimidating, it was for me too when I joined a few months ago. But our department, Paul and I work for the Energy and Water Department in Cardiff. This department, as was mentioned, has started in the 1980s in the oil and gas sector. But we've moved away from that over the past few decades and moved into water utilities, into cables and renewables, among other industries. And as Metoc at the time, we opened offices in Scotland and one in Cardiff, which is where we are. And here we've got a strong numerical modelling team. So when Intertek bought Metok, as it was then known, they were able to provide this huge resource to us. We've got this great business support, but despite being under the large Intertek group, we're still able to operate as an SME with about a 50-strong multidisciplinary team. So that's a little bit of our heritage and where we've come from. But where are we now? What do we offer? Well, we are actively involved in all stages of a project lifecycle. You can see there from resource assessment all the way to site selection and operation and maintenance too. Here is kind of the full suite of services we offer, but just to highlight a few of them, they're highlighted in bold there, but the numerical modeling, especially in the renewable industry, knowing where to put arrays and devices is quite important. So being able to have a look at resource assessment from numerical modeling, and then going through the project into things like EIAs in consenting, downtime studies in the design, construction, installation, and then in the operation and maintenance stage, looking at things from a GIS perspective and being able to combine different technologies from numerical modeling into mapping and being able to present that clearly. So in the history that we have with oil and gas, it's something we are moving away from, but it's not something that we're going to throw away from us. We're still proud of it. We're proud of it because it's got such transferable skills, such as dealing with offshore structures and looking at the marine environment are all things that are necessary for a company to be able to understand. And all renewable energy projects need a way to connect the arrays to the national power grids, both Ireland in the UK and in Europe. And we've got a lot of experience in this too. This next slide will show you how many projects we have work on. These are all subsea power cables that we've provided support on. So interconnectors, offshore wind export cables, into arrays. And for these, we've provided the routings, the surveys, or the consenting and design of these. And it's something I think, looking at the UK, it's very well connected. So we're quite proud of the track record we have and the range of clients we've worked for too. So what experience does Intertek have in the renewable industry itself? So Intertek has been in the renewables industry, in particular their offshore wind, since the late 1990s. So it's just over 20 years of experience there. We've worked on over 50 projects with a lot of capacity, you can see there. So we've worked on projects across the UK, rounds 1 to 3, and elsewhere in Northwest Europe too, places like Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, France, and Portugal, and then also out in Taiwan too. And you can see there as well the tidal energy, which is particularly more of an up-and-coming industry. We've had some really interesting projects in recent times too, some of which we'll get to in a short while. But zooming in from UK Northwest to particularly Welsh and Irish projects, well, we've got a few areas that we've worked on. You can see we've got experience in the EIAs, the environmental impact assessment. So on the map on the right, you can see the green hatched area. So that was for when we were joint authors of the strategic environmental assessment of the offshore renewable energy development plan for the whole of Ireland. We've also got experience in cables, as I just showed. In particular, in Wales and Ireland, we've got the Celtic East-West and Greenlink interconnectors, subsea power cables connecting Ireland with the UK and France. We've also provided consenting services to the Havingston telecommunications cable. You can just see there in light blue, which will connect the island with the Isle of Man, UK, and Denmark. Also in consenting, we've got things like foreshore license applications, we are able to provide support for those. We've got a few around, you can see they're around the south and the east of Ireland. We've got a few in the west, just we're not able to put them on the map. But also something that that Paul and I specialise in, and that's what our team is particularly strong on, is hydrodynamic modelling. This is a service we've been providing to utility companies around the UK and Ireland and private developers for more than 20 years. And you can see on these maps where our hydrodynamic models cover. And there's a lot of it in the Irish waters there. In fact, we're currently delivering a physical processes assessment with hydrodynamic modelling in the Irish offshore wind legacy project over on the east coast. So this is an area that we do have experience in, but that's not stopping us from wanting to go forward and continuing to develop ourselves in this field. I think my hiring as a marine renewables grad kind of proves the way Intertek are wanting to shape up. So just to delve for a few minutes into a couple of bigger examples, there's the floating wind farm project. You might have come across it with Erebus just south of Pembroke Dock. So in that we work closely with Julius Besterman and Hugh Kelly, some of you might have heard of, to narrow down route export cable routes and landfall options. So for this, we're able to do geological desktop studies. So taking into consideration geological constraints on and under the seabed, as well as large migrating bed forms. Another project, again, it got quite a lot of media attention, was the Swansea Bay Tidal Lagoon. So this tidal lagoon was the first of its kind in Europe. We modelled the hydrodynamics of the bay to predict the environmental impacts of the lagoon. That's during its construction, during its operation, and then through to its eventual decommissioning. You can see that there's a large number of effluent discharges. The graph that's going is water quality, and local river quality is affected too. So we're able to model these and be able to help support projects as they go from its infancy through to the end. And in this, we work closely with clients, with regulators, stakeholders, and we were able to provide expert witnesses at different hearings. And because it was such a new project at the time, we were able to provide hearings and technical inputs to, again, first of their kind in the UK. Now, other projects include this GreenLink interconnector. This is something that I mentioned before, something that's quite well known between Pembrokeshire and County Wexford. So for this, we did environmental support and permitting, optimizing the cable route, and subsea survey tendering, all through maximizing local content by promoting the common interest support and community engagement. Another one is the Dublin Array project that we've been working on. So here we conducted physical process modelling to support the environmental impact assessment. We did gap data reviews, and we calibrated a suite of numerical models. Here are just some of the results that you can see. So why we're here, what do we want to do? Well, we've already got good links with both industry and academia. We often partner with a variety of organizations to complement our services. So we're primarily a marine-based modeling consultancy. So we'll partner up often with terrestrial environmental consultants for land-based activities, like interconnectors, for example. We work closely with Cardiff Uni, Bank University, Swansea, Manchester, Plymouth, Edinburgh, ICL, and these connections help us gain an expertise for the field of marine renewables. So this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do in the future. And if you do find what we say here interesting, if we can offer you services or you want to find out more, then please do feel free to contact us at these contact details. Thanks very much for your time, and look forward to hearing from the rest of you.
Thanks, Dan. Amazing presentation. I had no idea that Intertek were as big as they are. FTSE 100, 40,000 staff, My own Intertek experience is that North Sea offshore, the Intertek used to test our fuel and water tanks
Yeah, thank you.
on a fairly regular basis. To consent, cabling, modeling, sedimentation, it really is an amazing company.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think we could just take a minute if anyone has any particular questions for Dan before we move on. Okay, we'll move on, and next company is SMI Limited.
Okay, shall I share my screen?
Please do, Joe.
Hopefully, can you see that?
Yes.
And everybody can hear me? I hope.
I can hear you anyway. Okay, just one thing is that your, oh yeah, it's okay. Your presentation isn't in display mode. I can see your tab.
Yes, I've got it. I can't get it in, I'm afraid, onto display mode. I have tried.
Okay, that's all right.
So it's, yeah, it is what it is, but I think it'll hopefully be okay. I will endeavour to get it on display mode next time I do one of these. So I just wanted to, well, thank you for the opportunity to showcase our capabilities today. So really appreciate that. So SMI, we are headquartered in Andover in Hampshire in the UK, but we do also have offices in France, Australia and Canada. So our expertise is in subsea cable termination and jointing, which we have been doing for well over 30 years now. Our cable systems are deployed in wet, dirty and hostile environments. So they have to be designed to cope with that hostile environment, which tends to be subsea. They are sealed with our advanced thermoplastic technology and are designed for long-term installation to provide optimized performance and reliability. We integrate cable and connectors into a robust sealed fit and forget system. So we look at a platform as with the cabling system as being the central nervous system of a platform. You have to ensure that all your communication, your data, your security are all working correctly. And in most applications and platforms, that is absolutely critical. So our technology for fit and forget cable moldings have been used in the naval defence for many, many years. We've been supplying systems to the UK Royal Navy and many navies across the world to support submarines and surface ships in their defence deterrent. And they've obviously got to withstand ocean hostilities. And sadly, in some cases, that includes combat. So our technology is perfect for the ocean renewable sectors, which obviously, again, operate in hostile waters and hopefully doesn't get affected by any combat. But we've been supporting wave and tidal projects with cable mouldings now for over 15 years. So rather than just being a supplier, we prefer to work as a partner and collaborate with our clients as early as possible in a project. For each customer, we provide technical expertise leading to the design, manufacture and supply of cable harnesses. For the renewable sector, we've worked on projects deployed to date in the waters around Scotland, Pembrokeshire, Normandy and Cape Sharp in Canada. And these projects have spanned cable systems, wet and deck mate connectors and glands for low voltage auxiliary power, medium voltage power at 6.6 and 13.8 kV, fibre optic connectors with 12 or 24 fibre contacts, and we also have a unique medium voltage and fibre optic hybrid wet mate. So the choice of cable jacket material is obviously very important, and it provides both system performance and termination technologies. Historically, you either choose between polyethylene and polyurethane. So each has its advantages. The polyethylene, as we can see in the age of plastic pollution found in the world's oceans, it doesn't degrade over time. It's effectively inert in the ocean and breakdown in water is extremely slow. So the benefits of PE for cable jackets are that it doesn't absorb moisture over time, and it delivers better insulation and doesn't degrade at high temperatures. However, it is notoriously difficult to process, and its low surface energy means it doesn't really bond very easily to other materials. So the other jacket material, which is the polyurethane or thermoplastic polyurethane, or TPPU, might be known as that as well, has greater elasticity than PE, which provides some outstanding properties as a cable sheathing. It's very flexible throughout a broad temperature range, and it's extremely wear resistant and mechanically tough. It also has an excellent resistance against environmental agents, including a wide range of chemicals and oils. So it's very useful that it's because it's flexible, it's very good for an anti-kink property, making it useful for retractable and flexible cables. It absorbs moisture, which increases its temperature, which increases as temperature rises, and moisture can get in and the cables can degrade quickly with performance. So it's not brilliant in warmer seas. So they both have advantages and also disadvantages. And at SMI, we believe that our customers shouldn't really compromise on any of those bits. So we've come up with our own technology, which is known as Plastitherm. And this is a dual jacket technology. So you're getting the best of both worlds. So we have an inner PE sheath jacket and an outer sheath of PU on the same cable. This guarantees sustained performance and certainly long life in service. And as we say, we like to build fit and forget systems. It's not sufficiently it's not as simple as just having a PE and a PU to realise the advantages of both materials. The jackets also need to be water blocked and bonded. So this slide just sort of shows a bit of splicing that we can do. So we can offer technologies for specialist jointing, which allows us to work on in-service platforms to maintain cable integrity. If you've got sensors that need replacing, we can splice the cable and overmold to ensure the same level of performance is achieved. So operators are increasingly aware of the economic benefits of reliable high-performance cables. If you fit SMI systems and we're engaged very early on, we can help to optimize cable systems, taking into account areas such as the materials, the jacket material, mating environment, marine logistics, as well as electrical and data loads, resulting in a reduction in cable failures, which I know is very key at the moment, and also levelized cost of energy. We're not a cable or a connector manufacturer, so clients can actually free issue us their cables and connectors. But back in the 90s, we teamed up with Gizmo, who are a subsea connector specialist, and this partnership is still going strong today. Both companies continually innovate and develop new solutions to meet the demands of the hostile environments. And with Gizmo's expertise in developing underwater connectors, this is perfectly aligned with our own goals of producing robust, high quality, pressure molded subsea cable systems. For some time now, SMI has been trying to be an advocate in standardization of cable design. So this enables the industry's subsea connector manufacturers just to focus on a few products rather than a wide variety and everything being slightly different. At this stage, total industry volumes are very, very low, but as the industry develops, they will increase. So technical discussions and workshops such as this one, kindly hosted by Selkie, does allow rival operators to make collective demands for technical advancements which would otherwise have been commercially non-viable. We are very proud of what we do, and we're very proud of our record of producing over 10,000 installations with zero leaks. So it's imperative that we deliver our systems to you on a right first-time basis. So once our systems are built, they have to pass our stringent and rigorous testing processes, which include pressure vessel testing to whatever the required depth is needed. And then they are inspected visually, and then we use an X-ray to ensure there are no defects whatsoever in the overmolding, and ultimately to ensure they'll withstand the challenges of the ocean for many decades. So where you've got that bottom one where it says the competitor, any gaps or defaults in there, we certainly would reject and redo it. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of our senior management team. I just wanted to state the fact that really we're halfway through a 10-year growth path, and to meet our targets, we've appointed key professionals and have developed a peer-on-peer work ethic across the company to ensure all areas are covered by experienced leaders. This slide just gives you an overview of the customer base across the 4 sectors we operate in, which are aerospace, transport, energy, and marine. And as we do an awful lot with the defence around the world, not just in the UK, we have to have many accreditations and registrations, which we're very proud to hold. And obviously they have got to be updated on a regular basis. So that again gives you an overview. And that's the end of my presentation. And there is our website link there. And if you've got any questions, and obviously please do that now. I don't know if we're doing that now or not, TJ, but you'll let me know.
Someone has a question, we can do it now, certainly.
I'll stop the share.
Well, 10,000 installations and no leaks. That's some record. You have your own technology. I'm involved in another project, and cabling is a part of it, and it's one of the most expensive parts. I think it's averages out €1 million a kilometer for the cable, or maybe slightly under. And you made a comment that made me smile. You said that companies are starting to realize the economic benefits of good cabling. I mean, you're right. If it's at sea or offshore, it's going to be subject to some serious abuse. And you know, if you're working with the defence forces as well, it's going to be well tested.
Yes, it is very well tested, certainly on surface ships and submarines where, yeah, it's very hostile and they've got to meet all their shock requirements. And yeah, it can't fail, basically. You've got lives at stake, certainly on the boats.
Really impressive. And what else struck me as well is that you mentioned your leaders influence peer-to-peer, your management technique. You said you're in halfway to a 10-year growth path. Like that's really good planning. I think Frank Crowley would appreciate those that type of detail.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Next up, we have Premium Power, Mr. O'Kelly.
Hello. Hello to everybody. So I'll share my screen here. So I'll up front apologize. I'm an engineer, so engineers, I don't know, but notoriously bad at presentations. We're all very serious and whatever, but I'll try and keep it interesting, right? So Premium Power, what are we? We're an electrical sort of expertise. We're a vertically focused company. We look at electrical systems. We're based in Ireland. We work ourselves predominantly with a lot of industrial, but also with utility customers. And again, my bias will show because I'll tell you that electrical systems is one of the most interesting things that's going on at the moment in the world. The Chinese curse is, may you live in interesting times, and we are certainly living in interesting times at the moment. A lot is changing. As a company, we work in Ireland. We're lucky enough with the history of the government policy. We've got a lot of great companies in Ireland, and Premium Power as a company, we've followed them across the world, across the European Union, where we do a lot of work, and internationally as well, South America, North America. As I say, we're vertically focused, so we do a lot of work on electrical systems. We're also a Schneider partner. That's something that we've been doing for quite a while. The particular systems that we work with from Schneider are a very advanced metering system. And I have a little story at the end of this presentation, which kind of bears a lot of relevance to renewables and where I think things are going to become interesting in the future. So just again, our work, I mean, we do a lot of work around electrical safety. So some of you may or may not have heard of arc flash as a hazard. Arc flash is a an electrical phenomena that's a very unpleasant one if you ever were to experience it. And we would do a lot of work working with industrial companies, typically helping them to understand and to mitigate the risk of arc flash hazard. So that's part of what we do. What we would also do, and again, this is Janie, a really boring slide, but it's shown a lot of the things that we do, which are the various types of studies and the sort of path that we would bring companies through. We're trying to help, typically large consumers ensure that their power systems are reliable and safe. And I said we're living in interesting times, and I think it's really the case. I mean, I think there's a lot happening in the world. Where unfortunately we've had an interesting summer where we've seen so many different climate events happening. It's kind of, I think it's a good feeling. I'm sure the science is quite clear, but my own gut feeling is that things are going to get pretty bad pretty quickly, and I think that we're going to be forced into a lot of changes. Maybe more quickly than people might have anticipated even a few years ago. Now, even though without those future events, I mean, what we're seeing in Ireland is a lot of change on the grid. So as a country, we would have had a very reliable grid in the past. It's been it's been one of the reasons why companies have been very happy to come here, because electrically it's extremely reliable. I mean, so, to the degree that like large semiconductor companies and large hyperscale data centers and large biopharma companies can come and reliably operate, and that's a key thing. And so, though in recent years we've seen a huge change in the penetration of renewables in Ireland. Our great asset is our wind resource. So you can see here, there's a nice map of the wind. You don't need a map to tell you that. If you step outside my house, a lot of days it's pretty windy. And I live in the nice east side of the country where it's not as windy as the west. But you can see, and there has been discussed, I heard there earlier on Dan talking about the offshore planning for large, with these really large wind turbines. Actually, that's such an interesting topic, because I see these wind turbines and they started off, reasonably enormous at 1 megawatt or 2 megawatt. And now you're seeing these absolute monsters coming out, and they're coming from GE and Siemens and these big companies, and they're like 16, 18, they'll be 20 megawatts. I mean, they're just, well, they're so exciting to look at. I'm hugely impressed with them technically, but it's interesting, and it's interesting the impact all of this is going to have on the grid. And actually, one of the problems that will be happening is, certainly in Ireland, because we have such a high penetration of renewable wind, of renewable power, and in particular wind turbines, the challenge is maintaining the degree of reliability that's needed. And I personally think that we're going to have a few bumps in the road ahead, because really, although we don't like burning coal and burning gas from the CO2 point of view, they produce a power that's extremely reliable, and sort of replacing or substituting a lot of wind turbines, it's going to be a right old challenge. So it will. And so part of this, just example I give about the work that we did. So apart from doing the sort of studies work, we also did this advanced monitoring work. And there's a particular EirGrid who run the Irish electrical grid, have responsibility for, they're encouraged, they are well aware of the challenges that are coming up. And so they have this particular program called DS3. And DS3 is really about delivering a secure, sustainable supply of electricity going forward. And so what they've done is they understand that in order to integrate as much renewable power as is coming onto the grid, they're going to have to concentrate and encourage services that will help the grid maintain its reliability when, for instance, there's a bump in the road electrically, and when a disturbance happens. And so there's a range of services that EirGrid have designed, and they're encouraging through payment processes companies to sell those services to the grid, short-term power response to grid disturbances. And so one of the things we've been doing is we've been working on, that's a boring old slide, but we've been working on using a device called an ION 9000, which is a really advanced meter to capture the data when these disturbances happen. And so again, this is again terribly boring engineering stuff, but it's actually quite interesting from an engineering point of view, because what you're doing is you're capturing at high speed, if there's a disturbance, what the exact response of generators are onto the grid. And say, particularly we're talking, say, for instance, to companies that are building extremely large BESS or battery energy storage systems. And whereas, say, for instance, a wind turbine gets money from selling energy to the grid, and it may get some money by supplying some of these services, something like a BESS or a battery energy storage system really 100% relies on these services to make money. So the monitoring of its performance against these standards is crucial. And again, that's just is exactly what we're talking about here. So the idea is that you can do, in this case, a project that we worked on is monitoring these generators and these batteries, and ensuring that the data is gathered and emailed off, captured at very high speed, 20 millisecond speed snapshots of their behavior, and emailed off to utility. And I suppose that's it. Yeah, we've done other work as well. We work with utility. We'd work with the ESB here in Ireland and with other utilities in Britain as well. And we help them to do all sorts of analytics on the grid with data like that. So things like fault right-through analysis and a few slides like that. But personally, my tuppence is that, yeah, we have a lot of challenges ahead. And the only problem when a prime minister or somebody says, we're going to go for 40% or 60% or 80% renewables in the next 10 years, is that that's a political target and not an engineering target. And unfortunately, I think the challenge here will be making sure, or well, will be ensuring the same reliability that we have today with the future technologies. And I think that's going to be really challenging, exciting for an engineer, but challenging. And that's me.
Thanks, David. Great presentation.
Alan, actually.
Alan, sorry. Thanks, Alan.
No problem.
I love that comment at the end. That's a political aim, not an engineering target.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's lovely. We all want it to go well, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
We've got a lot of big projects coming down, but you know, with regards to the grid and all this power, how are we going to integrate it? Just from the Selkie project, one of our work packages, we are developing a GIS tool on one of the layers. This is to help facilitate site selection for wave or tidal devices, and we hope to incorporate floating offshore wind as well. But one of the layers is how close is the nearest substation that you can connect to. You know, it could have a big influence on the selection of the site. And when you say a disturbance,
okay, so that's
do you mean?
A technical term. So when we say a disturbance, if you imagine voltage is what you're talking about, and a disturbance might be a short-term drop in voltage, and that might be a concern, because the concern, for instance, might be that if there's a short-term drop in voltage in a weak part of the network, and by a weak part of the network, well, just accept for the moment there are weak parts of the network, and the concern might be that a wind farm, if the disturbance happened next to a wind farm, that wind farm might go offline, and that might cause a further disturbance, and that might take down another wind farm. And so really the difficulty is that when you have something like Money Point Power Station, and maybe for people not from Ireland, that's a large and old power station, about 1,000 megawatts, that was able to really bulldoze through a disturbance that happened because it was so physically large. It had an awful amount of energy and inertia in it, you know. However, a wind turbine is not the same thing, and so there's such thing as sort of manufactured inertia, which some of these wind turbines can do, but there are of course limits to that. And so you can imagine what's happening. I think, and what I see happening is a big mix now of electrical technology and information technology, and the two are so actually, I mean, my own original background is information technology. I was a programmer for many years, but I went off and I've done a master's in power systems. And the one thing that became quite clear to me is just how different the two are. You know, I mean, it's just, they're totally different. I mean, even the time scales, when you design power system, when you design a substation can stay in place for 40, 50, 60 years. And you know, I've been to the London Underground, I've been in substations in the London Underground, and some of them are unbelievably ancient. I mean, it's really, I mean, stuff has been established for a long time. The laptop I'm looking at you on is about 3 years old. I'm probably looking to replace it now next year. So there's a huge difference in timelines. They're totally different ethoses, and even when we start introducing information technology into something as critical to our economy as electricity, there's all this hacking going on. So information security, all of these things. We had the Irish Health Service the information systems were taken down about 4 weeks ago by somebody from a country that sounds a bit like Bussia. And you know, I mean, this is the environment. So there's a whole lot of challenges that they're not being swept under the carpet, but they're not being discussed enough. And when, as is in my view inevitable, we have to make larger and larger commitment to renewable power, like there's going to have to be some serious thought given to all of these problems. So I'll stop there because I could talk for ages.
So much to do. Thanks, Alan. Okay, no, we are a bit behind time. Now, Tadek, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, had a time limit. They wanted to leave at 3. I don't know, is Tadek, do they still have time to present?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. It's Rupert here from Tadek. Hi there. Hi. Yes, I'm still here and I can still present, so that's absolutely fine.
Excellent. Apologies for the delay.
No problem, no problem. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to give you a background to Tadek, and I'm going to share my screen. Does it let you share just your desktop? Okay, I think that's going to work. Great. Okay, you see my my screen, yeah?
We can.
Okay, cool, great stuff. So I've just didn't change the front page there. How do I go to? I don't normally do Zoom. I'm not a professional Zoom. I normally do Teams. There we go. All right. So Tadek, I'm going to give you an introduction to Tadek, the discussion of the team and the services we offer. We are a company of naval architects and mechanical engineers, and we were established in 2010. If I can hide these guys here, how do I do that? There you go. So we were established in 2010, and we're an independent company with no shareholders, and organic expansion via contracts. Our specialism is in installation engineering. That was our foundation, and on oil and gas installation engineering, but then taking that through to marine renewables. And actually, we have been involved in almost every wave and tidal installation in the last decade to some extent or another. So going back to Pelamis, one of our senior engineers was the marine operations manager for Pelamis. I've been the marine operations manager for the Wello Penguin. So I've just literally come back from Spain this morning, installing the second one. We're designing, so we not only design the moorings, but we design the installation processes and look after the procurement management, the QHSE. So we did it for the Takado device here, for the Magallanes device. This is one of the Monesto MGS buoy anchors. And this was this was more of a design scope on a floating wind turbine. So our specialism is in solving complex problems and applying installation engineering and mooring analysis design and motions analysis, but to marine projects to achieve a practical application for that. Our clients are principally installation contractors, marine warranty firms, and device developers of floating bodies. Although principally our work is in the UK, we have been involved in projects all over the world. We've been involved projects in Nigeria. We're involved in projects in Houston, in Australia, and off Brazil, and all over the place. So we have a view on global projects and those sort of corporate style projects, as well as these highly innovative small scale projects. As a result of that, we have a big range in clients, from larger developers and more sort of established corporate type organizations to contractors and startups. And so on. And most recently, we've done quite a bit of work in floating offshore wind in a joint industry project on mooring systems for the Carbon Trust, and supplying that work to all the partners you see at the top here, who a couple of them did ask us for some further work on different floating offshore wind solutions. This is a photograph from last year of some of the team at an away day. This is the first time that we'd all been together actually for a year. We've been working apart for a year and a half, and that's actually been working surprisingly well. I can't get anyone to come back to the office now. So the team is spread actually now in Malta, in Spain, in Cornwall, and in various parts of the UK. So we're a team of 15 people, supported by various 3 or 4 subcontractors who support us on a longer term basis. But we split principally, we have a marine projects team, and then naval architecture and installation analysis. And some of the guys are working various times offshore on different ships. I'm conscious I've only got 10 minutes, so I will just fly through some of the slides. So I apologize for speaking very fast. But it's myself, naval architect as a director, and Pier Paolo Ricci, who's technical director, and he has a particular interest in wave energy, and he comes from a company where he was the senior engineer to Orwell Offshore, as well as experiences in global maritime. Nigel Terry was a senior operations manager at Polaris Wave Power. And then the team is made up of a mixture of senior level naval architects, junior naval architects, and mechanical engineers with a specific installation analysis focus. So Jeff is a particular focus on pipelay engineering, and we've put him into a couple of projects there. And Andrew is a mixture of naval architect and installation analyst. And we have other engineers who are involved in more the marine project side of things. A very multinational company, very much European, but also international. So Ahmed is actually a Norwegian Egyptian. Mo is a Londoner. Sam is actually partly Ethiopian. We have a Maltese, Portuguese, and French. So we're covering the full spectrum. We provide services within mooring systems is becoming a core specialism. Mooring systems and installation of mooring systems. So particularly floating offshore wind is of particular interest, and we're involved in a couple of projects which are ongoing in floating offshore wind. Within tidal energy, we were involved in the Magellanes devices, quite a nice simulation. And what's nice here is the application to an innovative project where we're doing the mooring design, all of the procurement of that system, the design not just of the moorings, but of the umbilical system. Now, this is an umbilical system that actually has to survive within 7 knots of current. And so dealing with the full spread of the project. And this dynamic mindset is very good and applicable for some of these floating offshore wind projects and other projects. Instead of coming at it from a high level, corporate level, which is not very economic, the experiences within these innovative projects where you have to be low cost and quite dynamic in your mindset. I guess the principal thing for TADEC that is the key selling point is that, you know, we're not just people playing around with Orcaflex or playing around with with some of these softwares. You know, we really have very deep understanding of the software and apply, you know, very complex analysis to the end result being very practical application of our method. So here, you know, we're doing our diffraction analysis, and in this case, we're doing diffraction analysis for a vessel, what you see on the screen, but that could be a floating wave energy device or anything, and then applying that within a practical application. So here is doing analysis of a second end pull in a wind turbine, and then deriving the operable limits that the guys will use on the vessel. You say this wave period and this wave height from this direction is not operable, and then making sure that they can work in the upper bound conditions. Or alternatively, developing the QTFs and applying those for mooring analysis, but using them then within Orcaflex. So doing some really good, clever and robust hydrodynamic analysis that can then be applied within more just more straightforward Orcaflex analysis. So developing tools that other companies can use. So sometimes we would just develop the Orcaflex model for somebody else to use. And what we do is we like to make sure that the software, we validate it with another software. So in that case, we're validating our Orcaflex work with with Hydrostar, a class approved software. That's a nice example of doing the complex work and applying it to practical applications. So marine projects is the core of what we do. This is the first Andritz HS1000 1 megawatt subsea turbine, which then became the principal turbine for the Maygen project. We were involved also in the Maygen project installations. So we project managed the entire installation process for the HS1000 and got it onto the seabed. But we have a core of project management skills. We've been involved in other projects. This is a pipe lay project where we were involved in putting a spread on the back of a vessel. So a real mixture of scopes at a corporate level and at a innovative level. So this was just literally yesterday. This is a photograph from a drone just yesterday, installing the Wello Penguin off BMEP. And it was a really fabulous achievement, a really very proud day, having worked on it for quite a while. So, you know, we've tank tested this. We have done all the hydrodynamic analysis. We have written every single procedure. We have procured every shackle and chain. We have written every risk assessment. We have been on the vessel making it work. I'm there with this, talking to the skipper, put it there, do it there. So taking all that depth of analysis and going right there to the coalface. So that is really our core specialism, and you know, this is a great project as that. This was a very, you know, a wacky project where we had to get a tidal device into a dry dock by inclining it with airbags. These are more traditional projects of doing cable repair work off in the North Sea, and this is another project with lifting jackets off the barge off a barge by a heavy lift vessel for installation, and driving those sea states at which this jacket is going to come down and re-impact the vessel, and then applying those those complex results to a practical application for the guys to use offshore. Apologies that I wrote this in an A4 and it's been pasted into a widescreen version here. And just overall project management, dealing with different people to get something installed on the seabed. You know, in this case, it was installing a buoy off Nigeria, getting all of that chain and all of that gear prepared to be then all the logistics involved with getting that to the site, and all the different partners you've got to work to get that done. And that's one of the things we work you know, very well at, is dealing with all these different stakeholders to get something done. So this is another Nigerian scope as well, and that's you know, applying these marine project experiences to these small scale innovative projects. This is in the foundation off Wales, but also we designed this foundation for the Faroe Islands and did all the installation for that in the Faroes, and we're actually now currently designing the Mark II version of this foundation, and a peculiar tow of the Monesto buoy up the Clyde, and dealing with all of the harbour authorities to get this dead tow application, an enormous amount of documentation to tow through a very important industrial route, and not to you know, to block it up due to poor engineering and so on. But going one step further, this was actually the full complete design of a tidal device that is a modular road transportable tidal device. This is the Design Pro tidal platform, and this is it being tested in Orkney, and we did the complete design of that platform. And this is working at the London Array, doing some work to fix CPS systems. So and this is the motion device that we designed the mooring system for, but also we procured the mooring system. We were at the procedures to install it, and we're there assisting them with further testing, and you've probably seen some shares of that project going on. I will just click through because I think I'm going to bore you with case studies. This is about engineering of tools. We engineer tools and make tools for people to do things. So I guess I finished with this smiley face here. This was the first penguin installation, and a very proud day, putting on the last shackle. So going from the tank testing to the analysis, right there to the coal face, and that's really what TADEC is all about. So I'll stop there. Sorry, guys, I think I spoke too fast, or maybe I was trying to get into this 10 minutes and I quite often get overrun. Apologies.
Thanks, Rupert. I think you have enough content there to go for about 10 hours.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
I can't believe that you showed us that photograph of the core team, and like that team have done all this, you know, the Moygen project that's very successful, Boimec, Mo Ocean, you're working with Magallanes, Minesto. It really is just amazing engineering projects, getting that tidal device into the dry dock. I mean, that's, you know, I'm amazed. I honestly don't know where to start.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, no, we're often amazed too. I don't think we shout enough from the rooftops really about what we do. I think we're sort of so busy all the time. Yeah, but it is a great spread of projects. Yeah.
I'm just looking at it now from, you know, my Selkie project manager hat on. You were mentioning Orcaflex. We've just, one of our work packages, we're going doing a digital twin on a buoy. We have a collaboration this summer with Mies. I think it's an old premium power buoy that they're going to launch. And we are going to make a digital twin from that data using Orcaflex. So it might be good to have a chat about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, we've actually done a couple of buoys recently, and the TPV study we did for a buoy that's being installed off EMEC for some load testing. Yeah, we'd be keen to help you there. Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. And one other project I'm involved in as well. We have a tender coming up for the SMS, making an SMS system for a multi-use platform. I could have a chat with you as well.
Yeah, fabulous. That. Yeah. It would be be great to show you a few things and how we can help there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, that was good. Anyone, any questions for Rupert? Okay, we're a bit stuck for time. I'm not too sure how the breakout rooms will go after we hear from Sish, but we'll play it by ear. So, Sish, take it away.
Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Rupert. That's a lot to live up to after that. I can't share my screen while it's still up.
So I'm trying to stop the share. How do I do that? Stop. Oh, there we go. Stop share. It says it right there.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so if you could shout when you can see my screen, that would be grand.
I can see it, Nicola.
Great. Right, I'll try to whiz through my slides because I know we're a bit short of time, but hopefully I can give you a bit of an introduction because I said the SAISH is new to the Selkie group, so it's nice just to give you guys about what we do and what SAISH is all about for those of you who maybe haven't heard of us before, because we're a fairly small technology company. We've been going for all 25 years, however, and our mission has always been to use technology to promote and protect our environment, and that's the ethos that has led us really to where we are today. So as I said, we were formed in 96, so 25 years ago, largely working with navies and academic institutes, and then obviously oil and gas was a big market for us for a long time. We developed a lot of underwater acoustic and visual systems for largely anything to do with mitigation, measurement and modeling of underwater sound. So that could be biological, like marine mammals, whales and dolphins, or anthropogenic noise from operations, seismic surveys, pile driving, drilling, dredging, etc. We're now the leading provider of PAM equipment, so passive acoustic monitoring, for the oil and gas industry, and also the renewables and general construction industry. So you may have come across our systems on projects in the past. We're very focused on R&D. It's a big part of what we do. We plow a lot of our profit back into that, and we work quite closely with a lot of academic institutes, funding a lot of KTP projects. We've got quite a few on at the moment, including these ones here, PhDs at Bath University in looking at underwater detection with USVs, unmanned surface vessels, and using artificial intelligence for marine robotics. And we're also working with Edinburgh University on a floating wind and solar farm challenges project, which is just starting up. Is really exciting, and really SAIS rely really heavily on working with academia just to be able to produce new technology to answer a lot of the new questions. So we have to work with ensuring we're providing best science and best technology to answer a lot of these developing questions in the marine environment. I think for this presentation, I really wanted to go through some of the key technology that we offer and a few ideas of what we use it for. So I mentioned being the leading provider of PAM. That's been very much largely your traditional towed systems. So this is a cable that's usually towed behind a vessel, and we usually use it for detecting marine mammals, and that's usually used during something like a seismic survey to make sure that we don't start using air guns while there's marine mammals in the area. We can use a number of other types of systems. So we use static buoy systems that can be moored to the seabed, so they can do more long-term monitoring. We also have drift buoys. So these are particularly useful in much deeper waters. So we enable the systems to be able to drift with the currents. And this can provide a much larger spatial analysis and an overview of an area. We also do a lot of bespoke technology. This is what we call a PAMCAT. So this is a platform that can be used particularly in shallow waters, or it can house a lot of different sensors run by solar panels on board. So this is a really useful tool for collecting a lot of different types of data. We also run our PAM systems remotely. So this is an example of a large seismic survey in the Gulf of Mexico, where we had PAM systems running behind the vessel, and they could continuously detect for marine mammals 24/7, but actually the operators themselves were based back in our office in Devon. And so this was enabling us, particularly at the moment where we're trying to reduce the number of people traveling because of maybe COVID restrictions or HSE reasons. We also have a sister company that has developed a USV, and this is known as Autonaut. We also work with a number of other USV providers using this technology for doing passive acoustic monitoring again. So we have a much lighter towed cable that can be used on a USV. And this has been really good for much long-term missions, and particularly areas that are a little less accessible to vessels. Above water, so not all of our stuff is actually subsurface. We actually have developed a thermal imaging camera system, which is used extensively, particularly in the US, on a lot of the offshore wind farm projects there, being the big area of concern is the North Atlantic right whales out there. There's a big focus on visual observations, and the only way that a lot of these projects can continue 24/7 during poor visibility is to be able to use these cameras to monitor in darkness using thermal imagery. So this is becoming a very popular tool that's also got a lot of software involved with it that can automatically detect distance. So you can overlay monitoring zones onto it. And this is a big area of development for us, because we're working very closely at teaching it AI, being able to teach it how to detect marine mammals automatically. And this will be a big thing for a lot of offshore development projects in the future. Some of the key packages, so I've talked about some of the different tools we use, but we can actually package those up into full service provisions for our clients. So for example, we have provide people along with a lot of our technology, so our MMO and our PAM operators. So this was a project we did for an offshore wind farm in the North Sea, where we provided marine mammal observers, passive acoustic monitoring, acoustic deterrent devices, thermal cameras, and mitigation plans and advice. We also do a lot of underwater noise modelling and monitoring. So this is quite critical in the environmental impact assessment phase and the assessing of the risks before a project can even be consented, or in the early doors of some of the engineering tweaks, looking at how the project will impact on marine mammals and how far the sound will propagate, how far those risks are going to be exposed across the area. And so we have a team of underwater noise modelers that can look at that and assist with permit applications and EIAs. Obviously, once you've predicted where the noise is going to be, we often have to then verify whether that model was actually quite accurate, and whether the impact assessment accurately assessed the risks. So often when a project is set up, we have to then, in the early days, go out with a number of buoys to monitor the actual noise and compare it to the model. And we also do a lot of bespoke engineering development. So a lot of our technology has grown from a client coming to us and saying, oh, if only we had X, Y, and Z, or only we could do this. And we're a bit of a team that's a bit of a can-do attitude. So we'll be like, well, we'll build it, it'll be fine. We don't have it, but we'll build it. So that's largely how a lot of our technology has developed over time. I've put in a couple of case studies just to showcase some of that technology. So this was a project in the Gulf of Mexico where we compared the results that you can get from doing underwater noise monitoring using different technologies. So we looked, used the Autonaut, the unmanned surface vessel, to collect noise data, and compared it to the more traditional static buoy or drift buoy setup. So the image on the right here is really where the pink lines are where the drift buoy went, and the Autonaut showed the very controlled transect lines that it was able to do. And really, this was the first time that the USV had been able to get to prove that it was very controlled into close proximity to such a large FPSO. So we got within 140 meters of the vessel, and it was a key technology, being able to collect both near field and far field noise data, which was really important because we had never had that data from an FPSO before. This is a marine mammal baseline survey that we conducted using the USV again. So this towed a micropam, one of the lighter PAM cables, and it was set off on a mission. It was offshore Africa in a very remote location, which didn't have the infrastructure really to support a traditional marine mammal baseline survey that we would have done using vessels and observers. And so this was deployed off a beach, and it went off and was programmed to do transects and covered 78 days in total. This USV, the Autonaut, is actually a wave propelled one, so it fits really well into the offshore renewables category. The clients love it because it ticks the boxes of being a renewable energy. It's propelled by the waves, so it's not using fuel. It doesn't have to come back in to be recharged or to have batteries changed. So it's a really good tool for doing much further offshore missions. And it can be plugged with a number of different sensors that can collect a whole suite of data, which is really interesting. This case study, this last one that I'm just going to go through, is a project we're doing at the moment. We started it a couple of years ago for the Ocean Cleanup Project, which you've probably heard of, the big cleanup of the Pacific Ocean plastic issue. And we were contracted by them to provide a whole suite of monitoring technology to look at the impact of this huge buoy system on the marine environment. So we were taking noise measurements, we were looking for marine mammals, looking to see what the impact was, any behavioral differences for marine mammals. We were also using an underwater camera system that was plugged onto the USV because this buoy system was out for a long period of time. So we sent the USV out to check the condition of this boom, to look for any areas that needed maintenance. We collected noise data to look at how much noise this thing was producing. And actually, at the moment, our guys are back out with some new technology, going out on their second mission. So they're mobilizing in Canada as we speak, a whole new suite of technology, which is really exciting. And that's me. So I just want to say thank you. Hopefully I ran through that fairly quickly and maybe made up some time. But if anyone's got any questions about anything we do, I'd be happy to answer.
Thanks, Nicola. Another eye-opener, fantastic technology. Just one connection, because with Mara, we do a lot of EIAs, environmental impact assessments, MMOs, the marine mammal observers. I'm not too sure who Intertek use for their EIA noise surveys, but you know, we could potentially have a connection there. And the ocean cleanup project as well, fantastic. It's a great one to be involved with.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. It has its challenges, but it's a nice flagship project to be involved with.
Have you been out?
Sadly, no. It was our very technical people that we've got some very new technology going out on that. So I don't think that's out of my remit. So I'm better off just talking about it.
Okay. Right, I'm going to ask the panel. Okay, I make it 10 to 4. We have 10 minutes left. I don't want to keep anyone over time. I think we should skip the breakout rooms because we're not going to do much in a breakout room in this little time. What I propose we do is I can share my screen and we have the responses of the survey. There's only 5 responses so far. I'm waiting for a counter suggestion, but if there isn't one, I'm just going to go ahead, or if there's no more comments or anything like that. No, it's a very short survey, 5-minute survey, but I feel it could give us some small insights as to what's going on. Really good presentations from everyone. I think that this, when we make this recording available on the website, we can promote these companies. Any of the panel have any comments?
I loved to hear about when Nicola was speaking about Boy and Slat's, ocean cleanup project. That is such a cool project. So it's great to see involved in that. It's really, really cool.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, it was happy I could talk about that till the cows come home. So maybe I can do another session at some point.
Okay, can I complete the survey? It is blocking the link. David Canary, you put a post up about barriers holding back renewable energy in Wales. Must be urgently overcome.
Yeah, it's pretty much essential reading for this topic, as it's about. But I see that Marine Energy Wales has been commenting on it on the BBC, no less. So I'm sure some people are aware of this. But this is the UK Parliament Welsh Affairs Committee, and this is just out now, and it's their opinions on what needs to happen in Wales, and it's very relevant to the conversation today. So I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder. I suggest you read it.
I'd just like to second that. It's well worth checking out. So as you said, this came from the Welsh Affairs Committee. The report was released today, and just highlighting some of the challenges that need to be overcome in order for Wales to meet its full renewables potential.
Okay. We could do something similar from the Irish side. Alan O'Kelly.
I was concentrating something else. What to say?
No, the Welsh side barriers to realizing their full potential in the renewable energy.
It's not just Wales. It's everybody. Unless you're Norway and you've got a heap of hydropower at your footstep, at your doorstep. It's going to be challenging for a lot of countries to fully integrate all this renewable power. Maybe nuclear. Nuclear is good. I mean, but nobody seems to want to build nuclear power stations anymore.
Not our area of expertise.
For the Cork contingent, it's worth noting that Simply Blue Energy was a witness to that committee, just to let you know. So a Cork voice was heard at some point in the making of that report. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Thanks, David. Okay, I'll just give a quick run through the responses. You can see with this chart, nice turnout from the Irish today. Company age, a great variety there. How much staff does your company employ? Half the companies are over 10 plus. Well, Geosciences Ireland and Intertech are serious employers. Can staff work remotely? Yes, 100%. That's going to be the future. Highest level of education achieved. It's like a master's to doctorate for the highest ranking officer. Now, the reason we asked these was that Selkie recently did a survey, and there is a link between the education level and the discipline of the CEO, and as to whether they're engaged in R&D work. We just finished that survey, and there's some great data and results as a result of it. Is your company already involved? Yes, no, we want to diversify. What services could your company diversify into? What PPE, coding, electrical systems, accreditation, research partnership and advocacy. Is your company involved in R&D, in-house R&D? And yes, R&D through collaborations. No, is 12.5. Have your company availed of any subsidies? No. There's another direct link between companies availing of subsidies and research and development through collaboration. Can we contact you for future? Thanks very much. Yes, we can. Okay, then. That was good. I'm going to stop sharing now. I make it almost 4 o'clock. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. It's really great presentations, so interesting. Delighted to hear from this diverse range of companies. That's what we want to do, is get people's names and faces, get them out there, what they can do, where they work, how we can connect with each other, and well, get some business and get the projects and accelerate the timeline. So thank you very much to everyone. Thanks to our panel. We'll have to adjust the layout for the next event. I'm open to any suggestions as to who and how you would like to connect. Yeah, as Jay said, we didn't have the time to talk individually. But I think there was great interest in these. I hope everyone enjoyed them, and we can definitely make this a recurring event in future. That's it for me. Sophie or Jay and Frank, would you like to say adios?
Yeah, TJ, I might come in if you don't mind.
Sure.
Look, I just, going back to some of the questions there that you had in your survey. At the moment, we have a number of students that are actually looking at the data that we collected. And I suppose, one of the interesting things was the role of the CEO in influencing the innovation activities of the firm, particularly to do around with things like interaction and appropriation strategies. So the protection and how much open innovation they're doing actually, is there actually attention there or not? So there's some interesting findings coming from that type of work. And look, as part, I suppose, of people becoming part of this network, we will disseminate that research findings to them as well, of course, over the next couple of months. So I suppose just to inform people, just to watch out for them. I think that people might be interested in some of the results. There's many things beyond the CEO as well. You know, like there was one thing you said there about subsidies. It was quite interesting. I was quite surprised actually that a lot of the companies here who filled out the survey, I know it's only 8 responses, have received subsidies. We found that, you know, an awful lot of firms within the sector receive subsidies, but it is very important for not only doing internal R&D and external R&D collaboration, but also other innovation activities of firms within the sector. So new products, new processes, those types of things, and organizational innovations. So I just wanted to say that we have quite a bit of research coming out over the next few months, so just watch out for that. And also, if anybody feels like they want to contact me or get part maybe of being a respondent in terms of data collection, please feel free to email me at frank.crowley@ucc.ie. Okay, so thanks, TJ. Very interesting afternoon, and thanks everybody for attending.
Thanks, Frank. And yeah, that survey, the data, I heard the data, some of the data are presented at our AGM and the Master Symposium, and it's fascinating. I think we'll have a separate webinar for the dissemination of that data. There's so much there. The level and the intricacy of the data, it is surprising.
I just wanted to say as well, thank you to everyone. So sorry we couldn't get to the breakout rooms and speak to everyone individually, as Jay said. But we'll look to doing more of these in the future, and maybe some in-person events where we can have conversations over a nice coffee or something. So look forward to that in the future. Thanks all.
Okay then, goodbye, and thanks very much. Good
Goodbye.
luck.
Thanks
Bye now.
a million, guys. Bye, bye, bye.